We start the hour in Libya. The Eastern Libyan army has declared victory in the city of Benghazi. General Khalifa Haftar launched Operation Dignity back in 2014. His forces have for years now battled armed groups blamed for a wave of violence and assassinations. Leslie Murungu has more.
It's the latest victory for Libya's Eastern General Khalifa Haftar. For nearly 3 years, his forces have been battling militia in the city of Benghazi, and on Wednesday, they declared victory.
We have many fallen and wounded soldiers. We are special forces, and we've known exactly when terrorism began. It was not recently, it was since 1989. ISIL know as well. Terrorists know as well, and we continue to bear the responsibility.
Khalifa Haftar is a controversial commander though. He's not enjoyed the support of the UN-backed government in Tripoli, but his victories have earned him the backing of international players like Egypt and the United Arab Emirates. This latest win in Benghazi will likely gain him more ground with the Tripoli government. Leslie Murungu, CGTN.
Well, let's get you more on that story now. I'm joined live from Cairo by CGTN's Adel Mahrouky. Adel, just how significant is this victory in Benghazi?
Well, it is a very big step, according to the Libyan army spokesman Ahmed al-Mismari, that they were fighting the last pockets of terrorists, according to him, or militants in general, in Benghazi, which means that they can now declare that Benghazi has been liberated from the control of militants and now under the control of the Libyan National Army. It's also significant because the LNA has been significantly growing its control over the Libyan territories, and under General Khalifa Haftar's management, it seems that they have been managing to increase not just the territories but also the personnel that worked for the army. That, according to al-Mismari, an announcement he made from Cairo on Tuesdays, that it has reached about 60,000 officers in this national military for now. It's also significant because, according to al-Mismari, it means that the next step will be Sirt, and then afterwards they're hoping to expand their control until they reach Tripoli in the whole West, and therefore they think that this is just one step in a long plan to reunite Libya under one army and end the division that has been fueled by militants and by division parties who basically have arms and can take control over lands by force.
And indeed, of course, a step in the right direction. But of course, Adel, another major development coming out of the region is the Wednesday talks in Egypt on the Qatar diplomatic row. Just talk us through what has emerged from those talks.
Well, basically, the Arab foreign ministers have reflected how sorry they are that Qatar did not respond to their demands, and that they will be planning future escalations, but they will not be announced until the time is proper. They will be looking for more investigations and see what can happen with Qatar, as now both parties are actually waiting for the other to take a step so that they can evaluate the situation and plan their next step. Qatar has said that it will also it will not take any steps because, from its point of view, these four countries started the diplomatic row, and therefore they must make another move so that it can respond for it, but not the other way around. And at the same time, they're waiting for Qatar to change its mind. It seems that they were about to announce escalations, or that at least this was the expectations, but many analysts believe that a telephone call between Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and President Donald Trump, who had called all parties to calm down and resort to dialogue, may have shifted the outcomes of this report. Here's a brief about what happened on Wednesday.
It was a long meeting that didn't unravel any new measures against Qatar. For now, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain and Egypt will continue their current sanctions against Doha. A month ago, they cut land, sea and air transportation and severed diplomatic ties.
There is no deviation from the important and effective measures that have to be applied in cases where there is sponsorship by states and by individuals of terrorist organizations or activities.
The Egyptian foreign minister went on to say that they have passed the stage of only accusing Qatar of funding and supporting terrorism, and that they now have proof to back their claims. From Cairo, they called upon the international community to join them in taking measures against Qatar.
That's what we want to bring to the world's attention, that what we are doing is along the same lines that we have agreed on in Paris when we came to stand together against Daesh, or in Washington, or in Riyadh in the last summit with President Donald Trump of the United States of America. These are the points that we have agreed on and we are acting on right now. And we don't want to waste a minute to allow them to continue to do their heinous work.
One of the problems we still have is the sense of tolerance, in particular in Europe, of extremists under the guise of freedom of expression. And I believe that European countries are beginning to realize that some of these radical and extremist people, what they're expressing is hate speech that leads directly to violence. And those policies have to be re-examined.
The foreign ministers of the 4 Arab countries leading this diplomatic row against Qatar said they will continue coordination. Their next meeting will be in Bahrain's capital, Manama, but the timing has not been announced. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, UAE and Bahrain say that they're sorry that Qatar's response to their 13 demands was negative. They insist that all options are still on the table, but they're not ready yet to announce what will their next move be. Adel, Mahrouky, CGTN, Cairo.